You must expand your conscious awareness of yourself. If you don't know a problem exists, how are you supposed to fix it? If you don't know the potential that you have within you, how are you supposed to use it? Just like magic, I'm attractive. I get everything I want because I attractive.
He told me if I didn't like the results I was getting in my life, that I was going to have to change me because they were my results. And he said, if you're going to change you, you're going to have to find out something about yourself. And that seemed to make sense. I don't think it was an earth-shattering idea. It wouldn't give anybody a brain hernia, but it made a hell of a lot of sense to me. So I started to study myself. I found most people don't know who they are. They really don't.
What do you mean? I mean, I know my name, I know my age, I know where I live.
Yeah, that's not you, though. Is there? You know, that's just
size,
it. If you ask the average person who they are, they'll give you their name. They'll say, I'm Bob Proctor, but I'm not. Bob and Proctor are two words. My parents give them to me. They're called names, but it's not me.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bahja. If this is your first time seeing my face, then hey, welcome to the channel. And if you've been here before, like always, it is such an honor and a blessing to have you here with me. Something about fall, something about winter, something about these colder seasons just feels so magical, so whimsical. It makes me feel like there's really nothing I can't do. It makes me want to reinvent myself. It makes me want to become different. It makes me want to make change. And I truly do believe that it is a season of change, okay? The new year is also rolling around, so it feels like a fresh start. Winter and fall is also the season that I do the most reflecting. It is cold outside. I like to stay home. I like to stay indoors. And it just gives me a lot more time to spend with myself, a lot more time to spend alone, a lot more time to reflect, and that is why it is so magical. It is the season where I set a lot of goals for myself. It is the season where I like to personally reinvent myself. It is the season that I like to rewrite my story. And what I learned over these past 3 years of self-improvement, self-development, working towards becoming a better version of myself every day, and really just setting these big goals and reaching them every single time, what I learned is we cannot improve ourselves without exploring the self. We can't become the highest version of ourselves. We can't explore our potential without becoming familiar with the unconscious part of ourselves and bringing that to our consciousness, bringing that to the forefront of our mind. When you do that, what happens is you expand what you have access to, and then you can start working on different areas of your life. You must expand your conscious awareness of yourself. If you don't know a problem exists, how are you supposed to fix it? If you don't know the potential that you have within you, how are you supposed to use it? Once you start to study yourself, you'll realize that the only thing standing between you and your dream life is yourself, is your own limitation. You'll find that all those things that hold you back is not outside of you, but it lives within your own heart. And you might not believe me now when I say this, but when you impress an idea upon your heart, and you set an intention and you make the decision to do something, everything changes. Doors open, opportunities present themselves to you, and everything that you desire will start to chase you. Oftentimes we think about who we want to be, and that's great. I encourage that. I'm going to be talking about that a lot in these upcoming videos. And you guys, if you guys know me, you guys know I talk about this a lot, and that is really, really important for our own growth and our development. However, we never think about who we are now. And the goal is to meet yourself, meet who you are now, so that you can work with yourself to get to where you want to be. Authenticity is the highest level of vibration. It is the strongest frequency, meaning that when you are authentic, when you know who you truly are, you become a magnet to all the good things in life, all the things that your heart truly desires. And authenticity is knowing who you are, regardless of what the outside tells you, regardless of your job, regardless of your religion, regardless of your race, regardless of the influences that are around you. And it's an honest representation of who you are. The goal is to get real. The goal is to get honest with yourself. How the hell are you supposed to grow into the person that you're meant to be? These are terms we use all the time. Tap into your potential, make something of yourself, dream big, build your dream life. If you don't know who you is, it really doesn't make any sense. There is a part of you that knows more than you can comprehend. There's a part of you who knows the journey, who knows what you truly desire, knows what needs to get done, where to go, who holds your potential. And that is the part of yourself that I will help you guys tap into. That is your true self. That is a part of yourself that is the truest, the purest, and the realest. And that is the part of you that if you tap into will guide you to all the things that you are meant to do. And what blocks us from that highest self, what blocks us from that part of ourselves is all of the outside noise that we seem to get lost in. Knowing who you are and having a strong self-image truly is a safe space. Shifting your identity is the first step to achieving the life that you desire. Rumi once said that what you are seeking is also seeking you. The truth is we're always seeking something. A lot of the time what we seek unconsciously. We never pay attention, or we're never aware of the unconscious parts of ourselves that literally dictates our outcomes. The reason why you don't have the things that you truly desire or you don't feel fulfilled is because you are unaligned with the person who you truly are. You are unaligned with your true self. You are unaligned with the things that you truly desire, and you are not yet the person that is able to receive those things. So there's really two parts to this, which is knowing who you are and then working with who you are to then shift your identity and become who you want to become. In this video, I'm going to explain to you guys the 4 archetypes that will help you get an understanding of yourself. I'll give you a few practical practices that will help you really just learn who you are, master yourself, so that way you can continue to evolve, continue to grow, and become authentic and just feel magnetic. Like literally become magnetic to all the things that you want. It's not that hard. It's not that difficult. The concept is so simple. What you seek is also seeking you. That's it. That's all. And the execution is usually the hardest because we have all of these beliefs that we might have from a very young age. Literally from the day we're born, our belief system starts to be built until now. And so we have all of these beliefs that might not even be our own. Unconsciously, they dictate everything that we do, the actions we take, the amount of money we make, the person we are, the type of people we attract into our lives, the types of experiences that we have. You have to understand that your belief system literally dictates your entire life, your reality, your outcome, your experiences, the people in your life, literally everything. And so this is so important. And I'm telling you guys, as someone who has studied this for 3 years, as someone who has trial and errored for 22 years, this is key and this is gold. And so take your notebooks out, y'all. Take your notebooks out and just understand and listen with your heart, not even with your ears, with your heart, okay? And take notes and really try to do these things for yourself. I can sit here and tell you how much potential you have, and I want you to know that who you are is just this being that is filled with potential, that is filled with greatness, that is filled with just so much goodness. And that I want to sit here and tell you, because I wish I could sit here and tell younger Bahja 3 years ago when she was at her lowest, I wish I could sit here and tell her that she is filled with so much potential and that she has access to well-being where she is now. And I want to tell you guys that, but I want you to experience it for yourselves, because it's not gonna, me talking at you guys is not gonna do anything. So if you're able to implement these in your life, I promise you, your life will change. You will go into 2024 just feeling so strong, so confident in yourself, and you will achieve more than you ever thought you could achieve. Okay, so let's talk about the 4 archetypes, which is taught by Carl Jung. I feel like it is the best way to kind of explain different parts of yourselves so that you guys can, take the time to actually figure this shit out. Okay, figure yourselves out. So the first part of yourself is your persona, okay? And these are your masks. These are the way that you present yourself, the way you want to be seen by people. Y'all know how like when you're at work, you act differently than you would with your group of friends? That is a mask, okay? You have a mask for work. You might have a certain mask for talking to somebody specific. Like you're like, okay, this person, I can't be talking to them like I would talk to just anyone. Like the way that I talk to my grandma wouldn't be the same as the way I talk to my sister. All of our masks make up our persona. So every mask you have makes up your persona. We develop these when we grow up to fit in. It's not a bad thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing, and it could really be beneficial for us to function in society. But if you identify with your persona is really where things start to go left. When you identify with a persona and you say, this is who I am, you put on this mask and you say, this is who I am, you will lose sight of who you truly are. The key is to become conscious of your personas and know that this is not who you are, but it's a necessary tool in order for me to function in society. When you become unconscious of those personas is when you lose sight of your desires and your needs as a person. You get stuck in playing this role. You become an actress and an actor, and you're not really just living true to yourself. When you identify with a persona, it gets so exhausting to try to keep up this act, to try to keep up being this person, when truly that is not who you are. Become aware of your personas by observing yourself in different environments. Observe yourself in different situations and ask yourself, does this really complement who I am? You don't necessarily have to hate that part of yourself, right? Like, you don't have to hate who you are at work. You don't have to hate that. You can ask yourself, how can I implement my true self into my personas? Let me give you guys an example. Let's say I'm in a situation where I'm angry. I don't want to portray myself as someone who is angry and loud and rude and disrespectful. I don't want to come off as that. I want to come off and represent myself as a Muslim woman, right? Who's respected, who's honored, who is, carries herself well. That is how I want to be seen. And so when I'm angry, I'm not going to yell. I'm not going to be loud. I'm not going to be angry. I'm not going to cuss this person out, because that is not who I am and that's not who I want to be. And so I can acknowledge my anger. I know that I'm angry. I don't want to suppress my anger, because that can lead to another issue. But I want to acknowledge my anger and still decide to be kind to this person and still decide to be polite. Okay, I can express my anger. I can express that I'm angry, but do it in a polite way. And to be fair to myself, when I'm on my own later, I can, on my own time, acknowledge my anger. And that is kind of what authenticity looks like. So personas are your masks that you wear in different situations. They can be helpful in order for us to fit into society, in order for us to not necessarily fit in, but function in society properly. And you want to bring parts of yourself into your personas so that you enjoy them and also not get lost in them. So know and be aware and conscious of when you are acting and when you are not. Next is the shadow, and that is all the parts that are considered bad or shameful, or you should not show this part of yourself. This is things like dark impulsive thoughts, impulsive behavior, anger, insecurities, envy, jealousy, etc. These are traits that are neglected by society. We're told, oh, that's a bad thing. Shame on you for being jealous. You should be ashamed. But we all have these things. We all experience them. The more we try to fight them, the more we bring them to the surface, the stronger they get. The more we suppress them and put them under the rug, the louder they get. And that's why people do crazy things, because they've bottled all this up. They've pushed it under the rug until the rug just simply could not take it anymore. We can feel really ashamed when we feel these ways, when we have these natural feelings and emotions, these natural reactions, okay? It is normal. But the more you try to fight them, the louder they get and the more impact they have on your life. This is why you see people literally just explode. You're like, oh my goodness, this person was so nice and so kind. And then one day they just explode. It's because they've been bottling up all this emotion and they just exploded on you one day. You want to consciously get to know your shadow. I call them my uglies. I might see myself as a confident person, but sometimes I feel a little insecure. I might see myself as a supportive person. I love to see people win, but I might get a little jealous sometimes. And the more that I neglect them and I try to push them away, the more attention I give them, the bigger impact that they have on my life. They become a bigger part of my vibration, and then I'm going to attract more things that give me a reason to be jealous, more things to be angry about. The more that it, corrupts my heart. The key is to become conscious of them and understand that it's normal. Stop judging yourself for feeling that way. Stop feeling bad for feeling that way. The more attention you give it, the bigger part of your vibration it becomes, the more of your heart that it consumes. So just let it be and let it go and allow it to live, right? When you feel insecure, but you want to be confident, you have access to both. You can choose choose to be confident. You can choose to be insecure. Without judgment, let her live. Let her live beside you, but choose to be confident regardless. Instead of identifying with them, instead of saying, I am insecure, I am an angry person, I am a jealous person, just let it be. It is a normal feeling that comes to everyone. Just let it be, observe it, and really just reflect on it if you need to reflect on it. But if you do not acknowledge them and you do not work through them, you will project them onto other people, and you will experience more of that in your life. The more angry you become, the more bitter you become, the more just negative you feel. You are in this negative vibration, and then more negative things are going to come to you, and the more negative things that come to you, the worse your situation is just going to get. It's just going to escalate and escalate and escalate. So without judgment, be kind to yourself and allow yourself to observe those emotions. Let me give you guys an example, okay? And this might be a real example, okay? This might be true in my life, or it might have been true in my life. Okay, so let's say you have an insecurity. Let's say that insecurity is the way that your body looks. And what you do is you suppress it, you avoid it, you try not to think about it, you try not to bring it up and work through it because it's just, so uncomfortable, so painful. It's just not the vibe. But certain things trigger you. You might not go to certain places. You might not like having certain conversations. You might not want to go dress shopping. You might not want to be on camera, even though that's what you really want to do. I really want to start a YouTube channel, but I'm just very insecure about my body, so I'm going to pretend like I don't want to do YouTube. I might put on this mask, this front, this persona of, pictures. I don't really care for pictures. Why are people so obsessed with shopping? I hate shopping. I hate it. I hate doing this. And you put on this front, but deep down, this is something that I love. I would love to be on camera. I would love to be able to take pictures. I would love to wear cute outfits. You suppress that. That is what you truly want. That is what you truly desire. That is truly how you feel. But you put on this front and it gets so exhausting. Now your insecurity is controlling you. It is holding you back. It has become a limitation on your potential. You've put a cap on your potential because you've allowed this insecurity to control you. If you acknowledge that with love and care and no judgment at all, and you acknowledge, I have this really, really deep insecurity about my body, and I wish that I could wear certain types of clothes. I wish that when I took a photo, I could be confident in myself. True story. This is literally me talking about my life. It opens up an opportunity of self-love. It opens up an opportunity to start taking care of your body and to learn more about health and to start working towards living a better life and to start working towards your potential of working out and eating healthy and finally getting to a place where you are confident and you're comfortable in your clothes. And then it opens up opportunities where you might start a YouTube channel, or you might start taking pictures of yourself, or you might start doing activities that you've always wanted to do. A whole new world just has opened up for you just because you acknowledge that insecurity instead of suppressing it. Your insecurities become a chance, an opportunity for you to build self-love, learn something new, build healthy habits. Your fears of being judged can be an opportunity for you to be courageous, for you to take risks, for you to do things that might lead to even bigger things and greater things. However, if you're unconscious of your shadow or you deem them to be bad or negative, you'll never get those opportunities to grow. 3 is your masculine traits and your feminine traits, or the masculine traits in women, the feminine traits in men. And I think you called this your Anima and your Animus. Whether you're a woman or a man, you have both of these traits. You have feminine traits and then you have masculine traits. But society usually pushes us to be more of one, depending on your gender. And so this causes an imbalance in your life and within yourself, because you're completely neglecting that other part of yourself. One or the other, and maybe even both. No, I don't know if that's possible, but so feminine traits are more creativity, passion, connection, wholeness, whereas masculine is more like rationality, discipline, organization, power, and leadership and stuff like that. A lot of times we hear things like women can't lead, or we hear men can't tap into their emotions, boys don't cry. Things like that is really what creates toxic masculinity or toxic femininity. And that, imbalance literally stops you from embracing your true self and your full self. And so when a woman embraces her masculine energy, she's able to do better in her career, be a better leader, become more structured and disciplined. And it's not that we are not those things. It's just we're told, we can't be, when that's literally a lie. You can go to the balance. I mean, you can go to the extreme of one, and that creates an even bigger, or that can create an imbalance. The goal is to kind of find that sweet spot, that in between. Sometimes you might be more in your feminine and less in your masculine, and that's okay, but to become conscious and aware that, both sides and both traits are necessary in order for you to feel true to yourself. If you neglect your feminine energy and you become too career focused, or you become too rational and you let go of your, intuition and your creativity and all of that, it literally makes you miserable. It makes you miserable. And I can talk about that and make an entire video about when I was trapped in my masculine energy and the effects that had on me, not just mentally, but physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It was just not good for me, girl. Kind of finding that balance, or even just being conscious of when you're more in your masculine, more in your feminine, that is where the magic lies, and you just feel so good about yourself, so much more confident, so much more radiant, and it's just beauty. It's literally magic. Okay, last but not least, number 4, which is the self. The self is the part of you that knows more than you could possibly comprehend. It strives for balance, and it helps regulate conflicts in your head, or regulate conflicts within. And so, when you're like, oh, should I do this or should I do that? The self is what kind of brings you and helps you work through that. It not only holds everything you are, it holds everything you once were and everything that you could be. It holds your potential. It holds your true desires. You never really get to know the entirety of self, but you get to explore that throughout your life. And that is what searching and embracing your potential looks like. It's listening to that inner guidance system. It's literally an inner guidance system. Continuously exploring the self is really what authentic individualism looks like. Truly and genuinely, I believe that the self is the soul. It is all that we've ever been and all that we ever will be, okay? It is the truest part of us. It is the purest part of us. And I believe that the shadow is the whisper of the devil, okay? And in Islam, we know that there's two voices that whisper directly in our hearts, and it is the whisper of the soul which guides you to resolving those inner conflicts. Should I do this or should I do that? It is the one that pushes you towards good things in this life, to reaching your potential, to doing good, to doing things that will benefit you not only in this life but in the next life. Whereas the whisper of the devil is what brings up your insecurity. It pushes you away from your true self and from your true beauty, and it doesn't want you to see that. It blinds you of your potential. It tells you, oh, but what if this happens and what if that happens? And it creates this bro, the devil is smart. You guys have to realize that he's smart. He creates all these emotions within you because he understands the power of that emotion. He understands the power of your belief. And the more you practice an emotion, the bigger part of your vibration it becomes, and it becomes a belief. And then now you can't see past that. And that is how he blinds you from your potential. He pushes you away from anything that might better you. And he traps you in your ego, pushing you away from God and pushing you away from yourself. The soul is the key to authenticity because it is all that you are and all that you've been and all that you ever will be. When we leave these physical bodies and we leave this world, it is all that we're going to be. And in order for you to hear that voice, in order for you to amplify the voice of the self and the soul or your highest self, you have to turn down all the other noise. You have to become aware of your insecurities. You have to become aware of your shadow. You have to become aware of your personas, and you have to turn them down. You have to turn down the noise of everyone else and what people try to label you as. You have to turn it down, and the louder that voice becomes, the better you do. And I've experienced this in my own life, on my on my own journey, the more that I got closer to God and I got closer to myself and I got closer to the source, the less evil that I did, the less bad that I did, the better that I did, the more good that I did, the better that I seeked, the more that I turned down those voices of my insecurities or all the negative thoughts that come to mind, the more that I just let those be and I don't give my attention to them, the louder that voice of my soul gets, the louder that voice of, oh, maybe you should do this thing, or you should move towards this, or you should take this risk. The louder that voice becomes, the more amplified it becomes, the more magnetic I become to good things coming to me in my life, to becoming better. People think like, Bahja, how do you get everything you want? How do you just like get everything that, you want? It's literally that, is being true to myself and saying no to things that are not aligned with me. Being able to take accountability for when I do something that is not in alignment with me, and understanding that, oh, I'm not being the person that I am right now, and coming back and having that safe space of understanding who I am and being able to come back to myself and say, okay, this is what I did that is not aligned with who I want to be, and working through that without judgment, and doing everything that I can to get to know myself better and to just do good. And that part of yourself, the self, is filled with goodness, is filled with love, is filled with kindness. And so if you are bitter and angry, those are just your insecurities, and you have to learn to turn them down. Okay, the more that you give off gratitude and love and all of these like higher vibrational energies, the more magnetic you become, and the more good things that will come into your life. How to know who you truly are. How can you learn who you truly are? And this isn't something that I hear a lot, but this is literally the key, okay? And that is knowing the state of your heart. I say heart specifically because not only is the heart the strongest magnetic field, but in Islam, and I'm referring to Islam because I'm obviously Muslim, but you can definitely relate this back to whatever faith or religion you belong to, because surprisingly enough, we all have similar beliefs and similar practices. Very similar. But in Islam, we know that God doesn't necessarily look at your actions and your behaviors and what you say, but what is in your heart, because that is where the truth lies. That is what holds your beliefs. And like I said, you experience whatever you believe about yourself in the world, and whatever you believe about God is how you will experience life. It is how you're going to attract things into your life. So the heart is extremely, extremely important. This is where you hold all your beliefs. This is where you hold all of your potential. This is where it's all at, okay? The language of the heart is emotion. And we know that our emotions influence our behavior. And as weird as it is, our thoughts and emotions become habitual. So whatever thoughts and feelings you felt yesterday, you will most likely feel today and tomorrow and the day after and the day after. But we can consciously choose what we feel. And I know sometimes it feels like you can't control that because you've practiced this emotion so much that it's a huge part of you. It is a belief, okay? If you have this belief of, I am never going to succeed in what I want to do, you'll attract all these things that will prove to you that you will never be successful in the career that you choose. And so even though this is a belief, maybe you're not even conscious of it. And a lot of times we're not conscious of our emotions, which is why I'm going to tell you to become observant and to do this practice of observing yourself throughout the day, throughout the week. Anyway, we're going to get to that. But see, this is why I actually can't. Like, I'd be going down a rabbit hole, you guys. I can talk about this for years, okay? Because I've learned so much about it. But our feelings become habitual. And so today, the way you feel, you might feel tomorrow as well. And the more that you practice an emotion, the bigger part of your vibration it becomes. It becomes a belief, and that is how you're going to experience the world. That is how other people are going to treat you. That is the things that you will attract into your life. And that is why it's important to pay attention to your thoughts, that not just all of your thoughts, okay? Because thoughts are like clouds. They come and they go. You can be thinking about the craziest things. You think so many thoughts throughout the day, but you're usually going to think within the same region, the same pattern. There's going to be a theme of the thoughts that you think, and that stems from your beliefs, that stems from your upbringing, all of these things. But it's important for you to pay attention to the thoughts that you choose to entertain, because those thoughts become emotions, okay? So we need to pay attention to our thoughts and our feelings, because that makes up our little heart. How can we become familiar with ourselves? Be an observer, please. Be a non-judgmental observer. Start to observe yourself. Tomorrow when you wake up, pay attention to your emotions and then ask yourself, is this aligned with where I want to go? Is this aligned with who I want to be? What triggers you? What people in your day-to-day life piss you off, and why do they piss you off? What makes you happy? What emotions, do you feel throughout the day? Are you feeling down? What is causing you to feel down? Was it a thought that you had earlier? Was it some experience that triggered you? Was it someone's presence that triggered you? What was it? Start to pay attention and start to take note of it without judgment. Okay, without judgment is key, because the more that you judge yourself, judgment blocks growth. Okay, if you judge yourself and judge yourself and judge yourself and say, why can't I just be better? Why can't I just not stop doing this? And you judge yourself, you are not going to grow. You are not even going to you're not going to be able to get to that root problem. Okay, you're not going to be able to figure it out because you're too busy being a negative Nancy and literally shitting on yourself and hating on yourself. Be kind to yourself, because the way that you are literally stems back from when you were a baby, ideas that were impressed upon your mind and your heart when you were a child by the people who raised you. Like, this goes back generations, okay? Something that might trigger you or show up in your life might be from your childhood, okay? So be gentle and be patient with yourself and observe yourself. We like to take the path of least resistance, okay? So we tend to have the same habits, the same thoughts, the same emotions. And so just pay attention and ask yourself, is this really serving me? Is this really gonna get me anywhere? If not, how can I work through it? How can I start to practice a different emotion? How can I start to, figure it out? Where does this come from? This is why therapy is such a good thing. Like, this is why people go to therapy, because what therapy does is it brings to your consciousness and your awareness the things that you might have been unconscious of before. When you observe something, that behavior tends to change. That emotion might start to change. Your habits might start to change. What is it called? It's called the Hawthorne effect, okay? When you observe something, you observe a behavior, that behavior tends to change. And so only when you become aware of something can you really change it. So observation is key. Okay, next is spend more time alone. I used to be extremely afraid to be alone, especially when I was probably at the lowest point mentally. I was terrified of being alone. I think there's like certain events, certain things that just started to add up. And you guys, if we don't consciously choose to change, naturally, things are going to start coming our way to push us to change. So events might happen, things might just start, falling apart. That is all meant for your growth. And so that's exactly what happened to me. Things were starting to fall apart in my life, and I was like, and I was starting to realize that I wasn't really that happy. And so what I did to avoid that, because I don't come from a family where we talk about feelings, like, it's weird. My sister and I will look at each other and I'll be like, now I'm like, I would like to think that I'm a safe space for my siblings to just kind of express their emotions, but we don't like to do that. Like, we look at each other and we're like, that's weird. My sister will go, why are you being weird? Or she'll be like, don't make this weird now, Bahja. And I'm like, okay. I don't necessarily like to address my feelings, at least I didn't before, but it was showing up in my life, okay? The way that I was treating other people was coming from my insecurities, my feelings, all these things that I told you guys was putting under the rug for a really long time. And so I was terrified of being alone, because every time I was alone, these would start to come up. And I realized that, I'm not really happy. I'm not really, this person that everybody thinks I am, because I put on this front of always being giddy and happy, even though I'm not. And I felt very lonely. Like, I might have been around my family all the time, my friends are all the time, but I felt like shit. Okay, I'm sorry for my language, but I didn't feel good. I did not feel good, and I did not like anything. I didn't like being alone. And so I would always hang around my family or my friends. I would always be out doing anything, just get me out of the house, okay? Just get me away from my own feelings, watching and binging TV shows, doing anything and everything to distract myself, because I knew I wasn't doing well. But it was reflecting in my life. I could see it happening. I was attracting more of it into my life. I didn't want to address it. I didn't want to address those things. And so it was being reflected back to me through the people, through the experiences that I was having. It was literally like a mirror was being held up to me. And so I finally decided that I was done shoving it under the rug, and I spent a lot of times I spent a lot of time alone. It was extremely uncomfortable at first. It was weird. I was like, what the hell? Ew. But I would tell myself literally, and I don't care how cringy this sounds, I'm gonna expose myself, but I would tell myself, okay, talk to me. I hear you. Like, just talk to me. How do you feel? What's up? But it helped me understand what was bothering me. It helped me understand where these things were coming from, all of my insecurities. And I felt like everything was just hitting me. There was a period in my life where I was really working through understanding myself and all of these emotions that I've kept bottled up, and it was just like one after the other, and I felt like I couldn't even catch a break because I was always overcoming something. I was like, dang, another one, and it was just a lot, but I felt so free afterwards. I truly felt like I could finally breathe. And one of the things that really helped me build that trust with myself was journaling, okay, which is the next thing I'm going to talk about. I cannot recommend journaling enough. Journaling literally is the best thing that has ever happened to me in my life. You guys, I promise you guys, journaling will change your life, okay? You will think everything is okay on the surface, and then you'll start journaling about your day, how you feel, and it's like, dang, that's really what's going on. It's like a place where you can truly be honest with yourself. You can free write, or you can do prompts, and I kind of want to make a whole video about journaling, and let me know what you guys think about that. But Pinterest has hundreds and thousands of prompts that you can choose. You can do like shadow work prompts, self-love prompts, whatever, and you can start working through these things that literally go back years, okay? And so yeah, I know a lot of people have this fear of people finding their journal. I feel like I've never had that fear. Maybe when I was younger, but like my family really respects me and like each other's privacy, so no one's really going to go through anyone's journal. But if you have that fear and you have nosy ass siblings, what you can do is start journaling on your notes, start writing on Notion or in your Google Docs, and just like save it somewhere, like put a password on it. I'm sure there's like apps that allow you to do that, but I cannot recommend it enough. Observing yourself, studying yourself will open up so many opportunities to grow, so many opportunities to learn. Your potential is not limited, you guys. I don't want to tell you this, but I want you to experience this for yourself, because once you do, you're going to become obsessed with learning more about yourself, taking risks, doing bigger things, continuing to improve, continuing to develop yourself, continuing to use that potential, and you will literally fall in love with the journey. And whatever you find when you observe yourself, whether that's bad habits, insecurities, hidden passions, traumas, hidden desires that you don't feel like you can say like, oh, this is what I want. Whatever you find, embrace them instead of suppressing them. Accept them within yourself. You don't have to go and tell everyone, oh, this is my hidden passion, this is my desire, this is what I love to do, but really just accept it within yourself. With practice, learn to work with yourself instead of against yourself. It's so easy to judge ourselves. It's so easy to be mean to ourselves and rude to ourselves, but it takes practice. I promise you, again and again and again, try again and again and again, pick yourself up again and again and again. When you know who you are able to find peace. Truly and genuinely, you're able to find peace in that. You love yourself more. Your self-love literally skyrockets. People can sense that energy. People start to respect you more. Your relationships get better. You'll just honestly be in this high vibration, and you will become a magnet. And you guys, I cannot make this up. You become a magnet to all good things. There's this aura, there's this light, there's this beauty that just radiates from you when you have this self-knowing and this acceptance and this self-love. You know your values and you know your beliefs, and of course these are going to change along the way, but just having that understanding will help you get to those changes, will help you evolve to be better. You'll become more emotionally intelligent, and you'll have control over your own narrative, and you'll soon realize that you can experience whatever you want to experience. You have access to well-being. You also have access to being miserable all at the same time. Right now, if I chose to be miserable, I can do that because I have access to it. Right now, in this moment, you have access to both. And once you become conscious of your unconscious self, you get to choose what you experience. You get to choose what you experience in life. And right now, that choice might be taken away from you by being unaware, by being so distracted by the outside noise and keeping yourself distracted and just tuning up the voices of other people and your insecurities and all of these things. You want to understand those parts of yourselves and accept them without judgment. And just like magic, Just like magic, I get everything I want because I attract it. That will literally be your life, you guys. That was my anthem because I was like, oh my goodness, I never experienced anything like that. And that was literally my anthem. Just like magic, I'm attractive. I get everything I want because I attract it. Anyway, that is all that I have for you today. If you enjoyed this video or benefited from it, share it with a friend who you believe can benefit from it too, because I promise you, this video is gold, okay? Maybe right now you don't understand the wisdom behind this video, the gold in this video. You might not understand it just yet, but if you do what I told you to do, if you implement these practices, one day down the line, you're gonna look back at this video and you're gonna say, oh my goodness, this video is genuinely gold. So yeah, if you guys have any ideas, I love going through the comments and reading all of your ideas, your experiences. So share it so that we can all benefit from one another. The next video I do is gonna be about shifting your identity. And so now we know who we are. We're gonna learn how to become who we wanna be. Okay, we're gonna learn how to shift our identity. We're gonna learn how to immerse ourselves into this new version that we want to be, because you cannot unlock the next level unless you're the character who unlocks it. And so I'm so excited. Until the new year, we're gonna be dropping gems. Okay, so you guys can go into 2024 feeling, I can't believe I just said that. 2024 is crazy. I love you all so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Oh, and don't forget to follow me on my socials. They're down below in the description.